It was a summer night in 1967. On a Louisiana highway, headlights flickered out, and Jayne Mansfield, Hollywood's most glamorous siren, lay still amid the wreckage. Some said her head was severed. Others whispered she was cursed by Satan himself. But this wasn't the first time a car crash brought her to the edge of death. Long before, another accident, like a dark omen, stole her dearest loved one, leaving a scar that never healed. Jayne had it all: the dazzling spotlight, a mansion called the Pink Palace, and passionate embraces. But her heart bled, yearning to be loved for who she was, not the blonde bombshell the world made her into. She hid her pain behind glittering gowns, judged by the public, haunted by rumors of the Church of Satan. Did Hollywood destroy her, or did she walk into the darkness herself? Stick around as we uncover the tragic story of Jayne Mansfield, from the bright lights of fame to eternal shadows. Chapter 1. The blonde bombshell label that haunted Jayne Mansfield. From childhood. Picture a 3-year-old girl, clutching her teddy bear, her wide eyes frozen in terror as her father slumps over the steering wheel. His heart stilled. That was Vera Jane Palmer, later Jayne Mansfield, in 1936, watching her father die in a car, a memory that haunted her like a prophecy of her own fated tragedy. 30 years later, she too left this world in a horrific car crash, headlights fading on a lonely Louisiana road, leaving behind rumors of demons and an unanswered question. Let's step back in time to find answers hidden in Jayne Mansfield's own life. Born in 1933 in Bryn Mawr, Pennsylvania, Jayne grew up in a warm middle-class home, but her father's death left a wound that never healed. Her mother, a former teacher, moved her to Dallas, Texas, after remarrying a stern salesman. Money was tight, but Jayne's spirit burned like a fire no one could extinguish. They called her the New Marilyn, but few knew Jayne Mansfield carried a bloodier destiny. Jayne wasn't just beautiful. She played the violin like she was weaving stories, spoke 5 languages as if she'd lived 5 lives. But the world didn't know what to do with a woman so smart and so stunning. Her dream was to be Shirley Temple, captivating the world with her radiant smile in her Dallas backyard. She twirled in homemade dresses, singing for neighbors, her golden hair shining like the sun. But her mother, with a stern gaze, always cut in, "Don't let beauty lead you astray," she wrote in a family letter. Yet, if you looked closer, not everyone was happy when Jayne shone. 1940 society wanted girls quiet, smiling, and neatly boxed in. They wanted Jayne soft, subdued, not daring to dream big. But Jayne stepped forward, dress flaring, eyes locked on the spotlight. At 16, she won a local beauty pageant, her curves turning heads, but sparking whispers among other girls. Who does she think she is? Teachers worried. One wrote in a school report, "This girl's beauty will open doors, but it might lead her down the wrong path." But Jayne didn't stop. She stood before her mirror, practicing Oscar speeches, tears falling when her mother called it foolish. Ambition was the fire in Jayne's heart, but it made her a target for judgment. The boy next door adored her, but other girls, jealous, whispered she was too proud. Society's pressure weighed heavy, telling her beautiful women were paintings to admire, not storytellers. That beauty was the light that led her to Hollywood, but also the flame that drew prejudice and later, demonic rumors. In 1954, she packed her bags, heart pounding, ready to conquer Tinseltown. Hollywood opened like a dream, but every dream has shadows, and sometimes the stage lights are where you lose your way. Would Jayne's light lead her to glory? Or was it pulling her into a trap she couldn't see? Chapter 2 was the blonde bombshell image, Jayne Mansfield's greatest tragedy. She came to Hollywood to be seen, but all they saw was a body that could smile. In 1954, Jayne Mansfield arrived in Tinseltown, eyes sparkling like stage lights, carrying dreams of being a true actress. She wanted to tell stories, to make audiences feel her heart through every role. But Hollywood had its own light, and it didn't shine where she hoped. That light fell only on her blonde hair. perfect curves, and a smile that made people forget she had a soul. Jayne became a star fast. In 1955, she graced Playboy's pages, her fame exploding like fireworks. Her lead role in The Girl Can't Help It in 1956 made her an icon, followed by a Golden Globe in 1957 for Will Success Spoil Rock Hunter. A star on the Walk of Fame in 1960 cemented her place, but each step took her further from herself. Hollywood dubbed her the second Marilyn Monroe, but it wasn't a compliment. They wanted her as a living statue, sensual, radiant but silent. Every role she took was a mirror, reflecting only her body, not her talent. She longed to play mothers, wives, but producers just laughed. Audiences come to see you, not understand you, they said, their voices cold as studio lights. She tried to please them. At a 1957 party, she let her dress slip low, sitting near Sophia Loren, who shot her a look sharp as a blade. That photo went global, cementing the bombshell label on her. The public loved her but judged her. They whispered she was too much, indecent, while tabloids called her the queen of stunts. 1950s society wanted women alluring but not bold. Jayne was caught between light and shadow, between being adored and despised. She lived lavishly in the Pink Palace in Beverly Hills, champagne flowing like rivers, dresses sparkling against her skin. But each night, she gathered rejected scripts and tossed them in the trash. No one knew if she cried or just counted another failure. Society's pressure choked her. Women had to be perfect beautiful, but not too flashy, sensual, but not too free. Jayne was violated by eyes that only wanted to see her, wounded by whispers that she didn't deserve her fame. But something darker crept in. Unreleased letters hint. She attended midnight rituals with Anton LaVey, head of the Church of Satan. No one knows for sure, but the whispers began, like a shadow trailing her light. The bombshell image didn't just trap her in roles, it made her a target for demonic rumors, like a curse waiting to ignite. Jayne stood under the lights, her radiant smile hiding a bleeding heart. She built her own glittering cage, and each night, she was the one locking the door from the inside. Chapter 3. Hollywood's peak brought glory and demons. She searched for love like a child lost from her mother, but every embrace left another scar. Jayne Mansfield lived under flashing cameras, where every smile was scrutinized, every hug judged. She wanted to be loved for herself, not her blonde hair or bombshell curves, but the world wanted her as a statue to admire, not a woman with a heart that could break. Each romance was a chapter, starting with hope, but ending in darkness, and the scandals that followed her were shadows that never left. Jayne's first love was Paul Mansfield, whom she married at 17. When Hollywood dreams still sparkled, they had a daughter, Jane Marie. But Paul couldn't handle her ambition. He wanted her home, a gentle wife, not a star. Each night, she touched her belly, whispering to her daughter about stage lights. But that dream crumbled when Paul left, leaving a cold wedding ring on the table. A friend said Jayne burned their wedding photos in the bathtub, watching the ashes rise. No tears, just silence. True love came with Mickey Hargitay, a Hungarian bodybuilder who made her feel safe. They had 3 children, Mickey Jr., Zoltan, and Mariska, and basked in the Pink Palace's glow. But that light dimmed. Jayne had an affair with singer Nelson Sardelli, and Mariska, her greatest pride, wasn't Mickey's. A letter from Mickey, found in old belongings, read, "I forgive everything, just don't leave the kids." Jayne once said, "My daughter is the one thing I got right." But if even that was a lie, what was real? The scandal, like an anchor, dragged her into darkness, with the public calling her an irresponsible mother. Her dangerous love was Samuel S. Brody, a lawyer she met in 1966. He controlled her, his jealousy leaving bruises she hid with makeup. She still smiled for cameras, but her eyes lost their spark. A waitress said Jayne left a tear-soaked napkin on a chair, as if hiding her weakness. The public raged, calling her a fallen woman, while tabloids wrote she was destroying herself. Society's pressure crushed her. A mother had to be perfect. But Jayne, with her bombshell image, was always seen as wrong. These scandals didn't just hurt Jayne, they made her a target for darker rumors. Whispers grew about midnight rituals with Anton LaVey, as if she'd stepped into a world with no escape. When the camera flashes faded, they said Jayne sat still in the dark, not from exhaustion, but as if waiting for something, or someone. Chapter 4. Did mental anguish consume Jayne, or was it something else? She'd sit silent at parties, eyes fixed on a dark window. When asked, she'd shake her head. I'm waiting for someone who's not coming back. Jayne Mansfield, Hollywood's blonde bombshell, once captivated the world, but now she was a lonely figure amid flashing lights. She wanted to be recognized for her talent, to play mothers, wives, roles with depth, but Hollywood wanted her as a golden statue, beautiful, sensual, heartless. Every admiring glance was a knife, piercing her heart, leaving wounds no one saw. The public judged her mercilessly. They called her a brainless beauty, a woman's nightmare. Each morning, she gathered newspapers, tore out stories about herself, and burned them in the kitchen, as if she could control one thing in her life. But the whispers never stopped. 1960s women had to be perfect, gentle, proper, not too bold. Jayne, with her low-cut dresses and radiant smile, was deemed ruined. She tried to hide her pain, but her eyes gave her away. A friend said she'd sit alone in the Pink Palace, holding photos of her children, lips pressed tight to hold back tears. Her relationship with Samuel S. Brody pushed her deeper into darkness. He controlled her, his jealousy leaving bruises she covered with makeup. She still appeared before cameras, dresses sparkling, but her smile lacked light. Strange behaviors emerged. An assistant said Jayne bought a Latin Bible, kept it by her pillow, but no one saw her read it. Another time, she brought home a necklace with a 5-pointed star, then threw it in the trash when questioned. Rumors said she visited Anton LaVey's home on moonless nights for rituals to erase her past sins. What those rituals were, no one knew. Whispers of the Church of Satan followed her, a shadow growing longer. Jayne was violated by the public's gaze, wounded by judgments that she didn't deserve her fame. She'd stand before crowds, smiling brightly, but her heart was an empty house, echoing with broken dreams. The bombshell image didn't just trap her in roles, it made her vulnerable to dangerous relationships and demonic rumors in her final days. Jayne grew quiet. She'd stare into mirrors, then turn away, as if she couldn't bear her own reflection. Chapter 5. Signs of Darkness in Jayne's Final Days. Jayne Mansfield took the stage, dim lights catching a smile that had lost its glow. She'd once set Hollywood ablaze, but now she was a candle flickering before a storm. On June 28, 1967, at Gus Stevens' Supper Club in Biloxi, Mississippi, she performed 2 shows, her purse heavy with $1,250 in cash, but her eyes were weary, carrying a world of ruin. She and Samuel S. Brody sipped cocktails, laughing with the crowd, but a waitress said Jayne took a mysterious call, gripping her glass, face pale. At 12:45 in the morning, they climbed into a borrowed Buick Electra, headed to New Orleans for a TV appearance. At a gas station, she moved to the front seat, letting her 3 children, Mickey Jr., Zoltan, Mariska, sleep in the back, a choice that unknowingly saved their lives. But darkness was closing in. In 1966, Jayne met Anton LaVey, head of the Church of Satan, in a San Francisco house filled with black candles. Rumors said she visited on moonless nights, joining rituals to erase her past sins. An assistant said she brought home a medallion with a 5-pointed star, then tossed it in the trash when asked. She kept a Latin Bible by her pillow, but no one saw her open it. These odd actions sparked whispers. Had Jayne made a deal with the devil? She denied it, insisting she was Catholic. But the Satan rumors clung like her bombshell shadow. The public judged her endlessly, calling her a fallen star, as if she chose her pain. Jayne was violated by eyes that only wanted to see her, wounded by whispers that she didn't deserve her fame. A friend said she'd sit alone in the Pink Palace, holding photos of her children, eyes lost as if seeking an escape. At White Kitchen Restaurant, a witness said she murmured, "The one and only," with a distant gaze, as if she knew what was coming. The bombshell image and Satan rumors made her a target, like prey hunted by the very spotlight she loved. In her final days, she seemed to be fleeing herself, but each step brought her closer to darkness. She'd touch her face in mirrors, then turn away, as if fearing her reflection. A waitress said she left a tear-soaked napkin on a table, hiding her final tears. Chapter 6. A tragic end for a legend. In the early hours of June 29th, 1967, on Highway 90 near Slidell, Louisiana, darkness swallowed Jayne Mansfield's final light. The Buick Electra sped like an arrow, headlights tearing through the night. At 60 to 80 miles per hour, it slammed into a truck, no sign of braking. Jayne, Samuel S. Brody, and driver Ronnie Harrison died instantly, their bodies shattered under metal's force. Jayne's 3 children, Mickey Jr., Zoltan, Mariska, survived in the back, but 3-year-old Mariska, trapped between seat and door, cried out like a plea in the silence. Truck driver Richard Rambo said that sound was a knife, haunting him forever. Headlines screamed, "Jayne Mansfield decapitated," but coroners confirmed she suffered a crushed skull, her wig on the hood sparking the gruesome myth. Her bombshell image fueled rumors, turning tragedy into horror. Darker theories emerged. Some whispered Anton LaVey, jealous of Brody, cursed them, pulling Jayne into a deadly spiral. A friend said she received a letter from LaVey, written in red ink, but tore it up before anyone could read it. Others speculated the mafia targeted her, knowing Hollywood secrets she shouldn't. No proof, just shadows of whispers. Jayne was judged until the end. The public called her a fallen star, ignoring her wounds. A fan said she told Mariska, "You'll make me proud, even if I can't." But camera flashes hit her heart, making her a statue to criticize. The bombshell image and Satan rumors amplified her tragedy, leaving a haunting question: accident or fate sealed? She'd sat in the car, eyes lost, clutching an old necklace, as if knowing she couldn't escape. That night, on that lonely road, the headlights faded and Jayne Mansfield left the spotlight forever. Conclusion: the legacy of the blonde star. Jayne Mansfield's crash wasn't just a tragedy, it shook the world. In 1968, the U.S. government mandated underride guards on trucks, called Mansfield bars, saving thousands of lives. But Jayne's legacy goes beyond steel. She was an icon of an era where women were caged by gender biases. Her bombshell image was both power and shackle, thrusting her into scandals and judgment. Satan rumors, possibly just publicity stunts, made her a victim of demonic whispers. She left a note in the Pink Palace, writing, "I just want my kids to remember me as a mother, not a star." Jayne was violated by the public's gaze, wounded by criticism that she didn't deserve her fame. She lived in a time when beauty was a double-edged sword, lifting her up but cutting her soul. A friend said she'd whisper to her mirror, "Who am I?" If not Jayne Mansfield, but her tragedy paved the way for change. Mansfield bars didn't just save lives, they reminded us every tragedy can bring light. She's honored in documentaries like Mansfield 66/67 and My Mom Jane, made by her daughter Mariska Hargitay. Mariska, now a star of Law and Order SVU, turned her mother's loss into purpose, advocating for women's rights. In a letter, Mariska wrote, "Mom was my brightest star, even if I only had her for 3 years." Jayne's story is a warning about fame's cost. She dared to live fully, love fiercely, but was judged for it. The Satan rumors, likely false, show how the world turned her into a horror tale, a local said. At the crash site, they saw a blonde figure by the road at night, as if Jayne's spirit lingers. What do you think of Jayne Mansfield? A victim of Hollywood, or a woman who lived boldly? Her story reminds us that glory always casts shadows. Share your thoughts in the comments, hit like, and subscribe for more Hollywood mysteries. Thanks for joining me to uncover the truth behind Jayne Mansfield's tragic crash.